and let us all do we can to build a better future.
Man.
So, folks, for those of you who don't know, Pasta took the initiative to go to Maui, and we've been talking about Maui here on our show as well, and we gave Pasta a couple shout outs for doing some incredible groundwork there and talking to the people firsthand. And the disaster in Maui is the worst wildfire in U.S. history. Every single institution and leader from local, state, and federal failed the people. Biden, when confronted to it, said he'll look into it. Second time asked, he says no comment. And then when he landed there, proceeds to regale people about his own disastrous fire and how his house almost caught on fire. He almost could have lost his car, his cat, his wife. Oh, goodness gracious, Cretaceous. He almost lost everything. But I think it's only fair that we speak to a person who has been on the ground. Pasta, what caused you to make this initiative to go to Maui and to speak to the people? And what did you see there firsthand? Because again, all the images that we're seeing on social media, it looks like a war zone. And then we're hearing about missing children. We're hearing about people being threatened to sell their properties. We're hearing about the celebrities like Oprah and The Rock trying to set up a fundraiser, but then asking you, that's right, you, if you're taking a drink right now, if you're walking down the street or driving to work, they're asking you for money. Pasta, start from the beginning. What's going on?
Yeah. First off, I'd like to say thank you to you, Kit, and all my other colleagues and fellow content creators, independent media journalists, who promoted what I was doing to help me get the funds. The people out there who supported me on this trip to get me there. It was truly freaking amazing. I put up my personal information, and you guys funded the trip and got me on the ground. I even brought a cameraman this time, a guy I met at one of the events I did, my boy George Dawson. If you're listening and watching, we were also testing the waters to see if we can work well together. And some of the footage that I captured, it was amazing, right? We're putting together a little documentary. In a couple weeks, it will be out. We'll be promoting it. And that's going to be, I think it's going to be truly amazing, because we went in there and, I did the hard lens work. When I say the hard lens work, you were one of the first independent media channels in there in Chicago to show up a lot of these events. It wasn't about what we're doing now. It was about getting our boots on the ground and going out there and seeing with our own eyes what's going on and then reporting back to the people. So, I'm saying it's kind of special to be with you right now as we talk about this. But I was so frustrated. I was frustrated with the mainstream media that they had pretty much already kind of closed the book on it. Well, we're packing up. We're going home. The fire happened. It's over. Let's move on. Because there seemed to be a lack of transparency. And that's one of the biggest things I learned when I got to the island. And you know me, Kit, when I go and do these trips, I speak to the people. I speak to the cab drivers. I speak to the waiters. I speak to the bartenders. I speak to the hotel workers. I speak to the people. And that's what I did when I got on the ground in Maui. I had a great connection there. A friend, a follower, a mentor of mine lives in Maui. And I was able to go show up there and walk right into a Lahaina community meeting where a lot of people who had lost family members, who had lost homes, who had lost businesses were at. So I hit the ground running right when I got off the plane. And I continued talking to people through the whole time, people of Lahaina. I also visited mutual aid camps, and I learned so much. And there's certain things I learned. I made a tweet about it. There were kind of 4 things that I learned. Number one is that there's a lack of transparency from the federal government, from the state government, from the local officials. They're not getting transparency. The people of Lahaina, the people of Maui, they're not being told why things led up to create the conditions in Lahaina for this fire. They're not telling people why things broke down. They're not being transparent. They're not getting the answers. So there's a lack of transparency that led up to why this happened and what created the conditions for this. There's a lack of transparency during the whole crisis. There's a lot of suspicions we had that were confirmed, Kit. The people of Lahaina told me that the police were blocking people in. They weren't letting them go certain ways. They were actually trapping them in the fire zone and not letting them get out. There are people out there who said the water was out. It was confirmed. It was mind-blowing, the fact that the water was out. It was confirmed that they didn't get the proper warning of a fire coming. In fact, I found out from some people in Lahaina, Kit, that they were told that the fire early in the morning was contained and put out.
Wait, what? Who? Hold on. Because again,
Yes.
because I want to be very clear. I know we are bombarded with a lot of stuff on social media, and I know that there's a lot of videos, especially talking about what happened in Maui, especially about the missing children,
Yes.
people who have been burnt to a cinder. But there's been videos pointing out that, and again, there was the idea that the fire was already contained. Now the thing is, Pasta,
Mhm.
who is giving out that information? Because at least according to all reports, or at least according to the former head of the emergency management, who said probably the most dumbest statement ever, I'm glad the sirens didn't go off. And side note, those sirens are designed for tsunamis, earthquakes, volcanoes, man-made
Wildfires.
disasters, and yes, surprise, wildfires are in there too.
Yes.
How is that information given? I mean, was that just from local news, or was that just a radio bulletin? Was it done by cell phones? Can you elaborate a little bit more about how that information got out?
So here's the thing. So I think there's less. I think there's like a population of 200,000 people on the island of Maui, right? It's not a big. It's not a huge population. A lot of people know each other, right? So when I was speaking to this one guy, Brother John, he told me, he goes, he knew people he knew the firefighters, he knew the policemen, they know each other. It's a local community. And he had heard from a friend that, who knew the firefighters, and they said the fire was contained, the fire was out. So this gentleman left his kids and his in-laws at the house alone and went on with his daily life. The electricity was out. So they were like, okay, let's go get some stuff. Let's get out of the house. They went to the Safeway, which is the supermarket, and they were shopping. And then they heard somebody said, oh man, the fire is bad. It's containing. He's like, what? I heard this morning that the fire was completely contained. And then he looked outside. He was at the cashier and he saw the smoke coming. So then he immediately rushed back to his house to take care of his children and his in-laws. And that's what happened. So, and I said, well, who gave the order and told people that the fire was out? And he goes, I heard from the people who were containing the fire. They said they left the fire scene at 9:30 in the morning. Now, remember, this fire in Lahaina hit like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Plus, it was also boosted up by the hurricane that was passing around.
Winds
too,
and whatnot.
Winds and pressure, all that stuff. And
absolutely,
of course, faulty infrastructure too leads to the continuation. And of course, by the way, those rich people's homes didn't catch on fire. Not saying it's suspicious, but it looks a little suspicious to me. Continue.
That's the big story. I mean, so he went rushing to his thing, but he was told that the fire was out. And let me tell you something. There's been a diversion of water. That's why I'm saying that, this is not going to be a quick fix right now. Kit. There's some reporters who return to the island and saying, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. No, this is the slow game. This is the marathon. The conditions that were created for a long time. It was unraveling in long time. It took a long time and the diversion of water, right? This is about controlling the water. You control the food supply, you control the people. You control the water, you control the people. The rich people on that island have been getting the water. They've been diverting it from the locals. They've been diverting it from the indigenous farmers. They've been diverting it for quite some time, so they can put water on their golf courses or their nice fixtures and their fountains and stuff. So it was the long game, right? And that's the big sin over here for quite some time. These conditions, it took a long time for them to create. And it was the perfect tsunami storm, mentally, whatever you want to say, for this to happen. The grass that they brought in to feed the cattle years ago was the type of grass that creates could be lit in like a brush fire and stuff.
And of course, the soil being very, because Hawaiian soil, volcanoes adding a lot of nutrients, and of course, was an invasive species. Got to be a little bit of a nerd here. They grow out of control, and invasive species do that to local ecosystems. So it comes to no wonder why those at least that feed for the cattle would be out of control and hard to maintain, or supposedly hard to maintain. But anyways, go on. But the thing is, too, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No. And you brought out a very important point. And for what I learned too when I was in Maui is that There's a lot of stuff on that island. It's not indigenous to that island. The mongoose that are on that island were brought over to take care of the rat problem. But the only problem is they got a daytime mongoose and a nighttime rat, so it never really worked out. But at least there's no poisonous snakes now on the island because the mongoose that were brought over really, destroyed things. A lot of the fruits, a lot of the vegetables, a lot of the stuff they brought over wasn't indigenous to that island, kid.
Right.
So you're 1000% right, and that's what I'm trying to say is that these conditions were, created, and it took a long time for them to create. I did learn, despite all that situations, all the failures, the lack of transparency. The second thing I learned and had to understand is that 80% of the finances and the income that come to that island come via tourism. So the message that Josh Green, the governor, is sending, the message that Aquaman is sending is wrong. It's bullshit, and it's harmful to the people over there. If we want to help these people out right now, we have to first stop the bleeding. We have to understand that this is some type of orchestrated gentrification. The lack of transparency and everything that's going on, it's obvious that they want these people out. They want them to move on. There's a lot of people I spoke to. Yeah, my cousin already left. He moved to Florida. My aunt already left. She moved to the mainland. They don't want these people here. They're keeping them in the dark. They're not giving them the answers. They're not showing them the way. They're not providing the assistance, the federal government or the state, so these people can stay in Maui, so they can stay in Lahaina. It's obvious they want them gone. So people have to understand this right now. I don't know if you remember this, Kit, but remember when George Bush Jr. told people, don't be so upset about what's going on, right? Go out and go shopping. Well, I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, if you got a few bucks and you got a couple days off, go to Maui. Spend your money in the local businesses. Right now, to stop the bleeding, we have to provide these people the assistance they need to stay there. I went to the other side of the island from Lahaina, a place called Hana. Okay, their business is down 99%. In Hana, guy who cuts coconuts, a guy who sells ribs, a cafe over there, their business is down 99% because you got the local government telling people that Maui is closed. Do you know how much my round trip ticket was? It was less than $200 to rent a car. It was like $30 a day. It was just dirt cheap. The only thing that was pricey was the housing and the apartments in the building, the hotel rooms, because those are being taken up by a lot of the residents that lost house. Not all the residents got help. A lot of the residents are trying to figure out what the hell to do. And a lot of the FEMA workers and the Red Cross workers, they're taking up a lot of the hotels and all that other stuff right now. So that's a little pricey. But if you get an Airbnb for 4 days, it's not that bad. People need to understand this right now. Go to Maui and spend your local dollars. Another guy said, if you got a few bucks, a great thing to do is go to one of these local restaurants, buy a bunch of gift certificates or business cards and give them to people so they can go and spend money in due time and have fun. So people have to understand it was the wrong message by the government and Josh Green. It was the wrong message by the elected officials. It was the wrong message by Aquaman. Maui is open. If you're going to donate, you don't have to donate through the Red Cross and FEMA. You don't know where that money's going. There's all these give, send, goes. There's all these PayPals. There's all these Venmos and stuff. And I'm going to be sharing a lot of them as I do my shows coming up and tell people where they can donate directly to the people.
Right.
This is what we need to do. We need to pump aid and finances to these people now. Go ahead.
Right. Because what I want to know is, because again, obviously you're going to have celebrities like The Rock or Oprah talk about doing a fundraiser, which again, people rightfully so should have pushed back again. Again, they spent $10 million. That $10 million to set up the infrastructure for the nonprofit, and then they're asking us for money. And I think it's important. And if you do have those videos or links of where people can go, because not everyone can travel. After all, it's a horrible economy that we're in. If they can donate to groups or organizations that can help people, even if it's $1, then fine. Because I think it's important that we do share that, because the people of Maui were effectively abandoned. And I actually want to switch this conversation, because you're bringing up the leaders. Look, the mayor of Lahaina had the audacity to say, I didn't know how bad the death count would be until the morning after, which, again, after such a devastating fire, I would not have said that. It's like, okay, well, big fire came in, sirens didn't work. There's bound to be a lot of dead people, all right? Probably burnt to a cinder, and there'll forever be that open wound, right? But now I did a previous segment too, where they're going to do an investigation and they'll find out in a year just what will happen. And I want to pull up this video here from local news, and I'm going to mute both our mics, but I want to just get your commentary on it, because I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of angry people who are upset at their local, state, and dare I say it, federal leaders who effectively abandoned them. Now, this is from Hawaii News Now, and I just want to get your thoughts on it too, because you were on the ground speaking to a lot of individuals. So let's go ahead and play this video. Will these leaders agree to talk to investigators? Will they? Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no.
Responding to the deadly Lahaina wildfire are pledging cooperation with the state attorney general's third-party investigation. But legal experts say for now, it's all voluntary. Our Mahia Lonnie Richardson joins us now with the details. Mahia?
Well, Steph, H&N Investigates asked several agencies if their leaders would agree to be interviewed by the independent investigators. Maui Mayor Rick Bisson's office didn't respond, and so far, only one leader answered our question specifically. The independent probe into the timeline of the Lahaina wildfire, how it started, the emergency response, and lessons learned is being done by the nationally recognized nonprofit Fire Safety Research Institute, which was contracted by the state attorney general.
And we hope to interview everyone involved. We've put requests in through Maui County. We've had some great conversations so far with members of the fire department. And we hope to expand that to all other government employees involved.
The third-party probe is happening as Maui County is suing Hawaiian Electric, and other lawsuits are piling up. Legal experts say concerns about liability could hinder the investigation.
You aren't under a court order to compel you to say anything or to speak to anyone. It's totally, at this point, voluntary.
H&N Investigates asked the major players of the Lahaina wildfire response if they'll be interviewed by the third-party investigators. In a statement, Major General Kenneth Hara, the director of Hawaii Emergency Management Agency, said he didn't know what the Attorney General's plan for interviews is, but, quote, I look forward to providing investigators information and critical facts on what happened leading up to and following the fires. Hiko said, quote, we'll work closely with the state attorney general's office, its investigators, and other government agencies as they conduct their reviews, while the Maui Police Department said it's unknown at this time as to what they'll be reviewing, but the Maui Police Department will cooperate as requested. But they didn't answer specifically if their leaders would be interviewed.
So, let's have democracy in the chat. Type 1 if you think these also fantastic leaders will all agree to be interviewed and everything will be hunky-dory. Type 2 for no. No, they're not going to do it. Pasta, your response to this, because I know there are people who are angry at everyone on this board, including that police chief. And hey, there's the former head of emergency management who said he was glad that the sirens didn't go on because he was afraid people would run into a fire. No, he said that. You think I'm joking? I'm not. This guy right here at the bottom, bottom here.
Left,
yeah, bottom left.
DNLR, I think I can't remember the name of the agency that's, and got their hands in a lot of things, Department of Natural, whatever it is. They have the water guy that's not up here, the water guy that the man who was in charge of the water. They have this whole thing where they're playing this video where he said, well, he was talking about equity last year. And they wanted to know, they wanted questions, meaning the citizens wanted to ask this guy a lot of questions. They want to know his position, what he was doing, what was going on. They had a lot of questions about how, once again, the conditions led up to this situation where Lahaina was, almost like a brush fire of sorts because of the grass and the diversion of water and stuff. So what did these local officials do, and what did the department do? They sidelined this guy. They transferred him out. They did that so that this guy doesn't have to ask questions. That's what I'm saying. These people are not going to have to speak. They're going to be hidden. They're going to be tucked away. So right now, for the major players in this whole situation, the ruling class of sorts, if they can silence these people as much as they can and run the clock out, then hopefully Maui will be a second thought in people's mind. In other words, they kick the can down the road, and these people don't have to answer for what happened until 3-4 months down the road, maybe 5 months, 6 months, a year down the road.
Who knows? Yeah.
Then we're forgetting about Maui. People are moving on. You can see how the mainstream media is already forgetting about it and trying to move on. So these people are going to be sidelined in silence, and that's what they're doing. There's a reason why this third-party investigation is already coming to fruition, because they're not getting the answers. The lack of transparency is just mind-boggling, right? And these people want answers. That's why you're already hearing early out of the gate they want an independent investigation, because what they're being told by their elected officials is not sufficient. It's not good. It's bullshit. It's malarkey, right? It's BS. The people of Lahaina, the people of Maui deserve answers, and they're not getting it. And that's why they're calling for a third-party investigation. And it's not just transparency for why the conditions were the way they were to lead up to this, or transparency and understanding why things broke down in the middle of this crisis, but moving forward. Where are these elected officials invested? Where are their money and their mindset? Where is it at? The people of Lahaina deserve this transparency so they can have a say in the agenda that's moving forward for their lives and their town and their homes. Not the fact that Josh Green, who's the governor, was also the keynote speaker for the UN for 15-minute cities, for smart cities and shit. And all the people there, they know this. They talk about it. They think it's a slap in the face that they're going to sit there and say 150 people dead and several missing or unaccounted for. They're saying they don't know the exact count, but they have a feeling that it's in the thousands. And they're not being honest about that. They're not being transparent about that. Every single step of the way, the people of Lahaina are getting smacked in the face by their local and state officials because they're not being transparent. It's almost like I said, it's an orchestrated gentrification. They want them gone. And that's why you see this third-party investigation coming right now as well. And on all aspects, before, during, and after, they want transparency, and they're not getting it, God damn it.
I don't want to put you on a spot here, Pasta, and
Put me on the spot.
If you don't want to answer it, because it is a question that's pretty emotional, and I think it's important that we remember what happened. Look, the people of Maui are U.S. citizens, and they were abandoned. Okay. And this isn't the first time our government has abandoned people, especially the American people. We seem to be dead last, as the war in Ukraine seems to be the front and center thing. I didn't know that Ukraine was a 51st state, but anyways, I digress. The point is, I've been following you on social media and following your posts. You've been doing some great work. And of course, there have been people who did not want to speak because the tragedy is too real. Let's be clear here. Many of their loved ones, there's 1,000 people still missing, children missing, burnt to cinder, communities gone, memories burnt forever. I mean, it's not just a scar, it's an open wound, and it will probably never heal. What were some of the takeaways that you learned or heard from the people that you did speak to, or either that maybe didn't want to speak to via camera, but I'm pretty sure you heard your fair share of stories of pain, emotion, loss. What were some of the things that you saw firsthand there, Pasta? Now, again, if you don't want to answer it, that's fine there.
No.
I
I'd love to.
I think it's important that we hear what's happening from the people. I think I speak on behalf of everyone else here watching that we do look forward to this video that you are putting together with your cameraman. So
what's up, motherfuckers?
You made me wake them up over here getting excited and stuff, right? Let me answer that.
Fight the white supremacy.
Yeah, there you go.
You
go.
Late for that section. That was 20 minutes ago, buddy.
That was 20 minutes ago. Jimmy Dore, everyone. So Pasta, take it away, buddy.
Yeah, well, listen. Let me stay on this point right now because I think it's important. Really, it's a serious thing, right? Like the thing I've experienced more than anything with the people of Lahaina is that there's a lot of trauma there. It's early. I might have been there 3 weeks after the fire, but it's early right now. Kit, people haven't come out. They're not ready to speak. They're not ready to look people in the eyes. You could see it in their face. They're dealing with some serious trauma. So, I got there a little bit early. I got to return to the island because there's a lot of things going on. Mm-hmm. Despite that trauma, and I've said this before, one of the most amazing thing with these mutual aid camps that I witnessed 2 of them, where the people of Lahaina, the people of Maui, They came together, all of them, indigenous, local, the Howleys, which is the white people, with what they call them, the Howleys. They all came together, understanding, because they've already had this distrust in their government, that they're not going to wait for the Red Cross to come and save them. They're not going to wait for FEMA to come save them. They were offered $700 a household while, Ukraine gets billions. And they constantly mention that. It's like a slap in their face. Despite all the trauma that they're facing, they've come together in a way like I've never seen before. I've been to 7 Latin American countries over the last year and change, right? Last 2.5 years. And I've been to collective governments where people are coming together to fight a common enemy or obtain a common goal. I've never seen what I saw in Maui and what I saw in Lahaina. These mutual aid camps, and I got these information from the 2 mutual aid camps where people can donate directly to them. I've never seen anything like it. It was just amazing. They've set up like mini Costco's in beach properties where the citizens can come by and grab the things they need. And there's no questions asked. Come, what do you need? You need baby stuff. I got diapers. I got formula. I got baby oil. I got all the stuff over here. You need canned goods. Come over there. Oh, you hungry? We have a food trunk that we parked here and whatnot, and we're cooking food. You want what do you need? You need dog stuff, food for your dog. There's a whole pet department over there. You need medical aid. We got a medical aid tent. I've never seen something like that. So despite the trauma, it's amazing. But I also saw this, Kit, on my way out talking to some of these mutual aid camps. I saw people who didn't want to go on camera, who have thrusted themselves into the whole aid process of helping others, and they're burying their losses and their trauma away right now. They haven't even faced it yet. That's why I say I have to come back, especially in the mutual aid camps. And you know this, Kid. There's only a limited amount of time that the state and the federal government are going to allow these camps to stay open. They're going to try to shut them down. And these are the most effective things I've seen as far as providing aid directly to the people. So I'm going to have to return to that island when this happens and kind of shine a light on it.
When will that
it's
be?
Going to happen. They're already starting to bust their balls in some cases where they're coming in and go, oh, that's not sanitary, or that's not approved by the health department or the medical department. That would not be. They're already starting that rhetoric. So there's a lot of shit that's going on right now. And like I said, there's a lot of people who aren't even facing their trauma. There's a lot of people who are living with trauma. This was an event. Can you imagine, Kit? We can go anywhere with our jobs, right? Okay, you're based in Chicago, but if you got an opportunity to go to California to do something, you can go do that. We can move with our job. I don't think we're attached to our home as much as the majority of Americans. Their livelihood, their home, that identifies, that defines who they are. Can you imagine leaving your house one day and then not being able to know what's going on with your house for 4 or 5 days? And then when you try to go back, they say, you can't go back in there. Your house is melted down. It's burnt down. Go on and move on with your life. Think about how dramatic that is. That's what a lot of these people are facing. They lost their businesses. They lost their houses, and they're never able to return there to get the closure they need to move on. That's what's going on in Lahaina right now. And that's the sad part right now. And they're getting no help. In fact, they're getting kicked in the dick from their local and state fucking officials. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting with the way the mainstream media has already closed the book and moved on. People are fumbling this thing here, right? There's a story going on in Lahaina. It's just beginning, and we need to highlight what's going on over there. And that's what I intended to do. Get answers, highlight it, and that's what I intend to do further down the road. It's not over. It's only just begun over there. It's a long game. That's also what I want to just finish up real quick, and I'll hand it right back over to you. There's not going to be any discovery or something from an official that's going to blow the case open over here. It's going to be death by a million cuts, little by little. This is going to This is going to unfold over the long run. That it's a long time before they'll even be able to break ground and start rebuilding over there. What's going to happen to those people between now and then? That's the story. And we're going to need a lot of local activists over there that I've met, local reporters over there that I met, and journalists over there who are going to have to stay on this fucking situation until it's while it unfolds and until it comes to a conclusion. And it's going to be a long time.
Pasta, first of all, you going there really inspired me, and it means a lot. And we need to hear these people's voices. If you haven't done so already to anyone, It'll be brutal to read, but hey, do your own research because I encourage it. Yes, I encourage people to read. I know, shocking in this day and age. Don't trust the experts, especially those at corporate media. But if you look at the history of Hawaii and how it became a state, it is a tragic tale of what happened to the native people and how they've been screwed over consistently screwed over. And what is happening to Lahaina is gentrification, because I've seen gentrification firsthand here in the city of Chicago, but I will make the controversial statement and say that what's going on in Lahaina is far more brutal than what I have witnessed here in my city. And to the people of Lahaina, you need to come together, work together, whatever differences any of your neighbors had with each other, put it aside, because it's the vulture capitalists are flying in. And I want to say this, that we do invite all these groups that people you spoke to be on Hard Lens Media. We cannot forget what happened to Lahaina, because Lahaina, it's not the canary in the coal mine. It's the 1000th canary in the coal mine, indicating that the U.S. government is abandoning its citizens and screwing them over. $700 one-time deal. And then Oprah Winfrey, which are also fantastic fundraiser, $1,200 per month. Whoosh, that's going to evaporate. Not to mention, again, Rock, Oprah, you're millionaires. I know, Oprah, you are a billionaire. You can literally crap out a golden egg and give it to the people of Lahaina. You could do that instead of making a fundraiser. By the way, did anyone give you your thoughts about that? The whole fundraiser that Rock and Oprah put together. I mean, big brain idea.
Well, there's one person who said, "Don't go hard on the Rock and Oprah. They didn't cause this situation."
I know.
So I heard somebody say that, but at the end of the day, most of the people go and they laugh like they're going to get any of that money. They don't trust their officials there. They don't trust their local and state officials over there. They have a big distrust for them. I mean, let's not forget, this was the Kingdom of Hawaii that was colonized by the United States government, and that's deep rooted over there. Their ancestors have passed on that pain and anguish, that trauma.
What happened to the royal family. Yeah.
They, what I'm saying, that's evident in there, what I'm saying, and that's why but here's the thing too, Kit, can you imagine me showing up with a camera? I'm not that popular at all, I'm just beginning to still build my my brand and my network and all that shit.
If YouTube will allow it, because again, YouTube's screwing over independent media.
Of course, they have been for quite some time. But me showing up with a camera, they a lot of people were puzzled. They didn't. You have to build trust with these people, right?
Yeah.
And I think people who made the investment for me to go made the right investment, because that's where I think I am probably, my greatest skill set is talking to people. I'll go into a room where I don't know anybody and I'll leave. They'll all know me and like me. That's my gift of gab. That's where I've always found, with my work before this, is connecting with people and talking with people. I considered myself to be a pretty good communicator. A lot of the jobs I had, and the jobs I had towards the end, was training coordinator of restaurants, where I would go and connect with people and train them and teach them how to connect with people even further. So I think people made a good investment, but you can understand the distrust they have. People are trying to exploit every single situation over there, especially with these mutual aid camps. You know what I'm saying? They're like, who the hell are you? But I did it the right way. I showed up. My cameraman had his camera down. We walked over. Can I speak to who's in charge? And started pitching what I'm doing. But a lot of people, well, what do you get out of this? Why are you doing this? Like, what I'm saying? They didn't understand the whole thought process of, oh, well, I'm an independent media journalist, but I'm also a truth teller, and I'm coming here to get your story and tell your truth and bring it to the people. You know what I'm saying? They didn't understand the, why I would do that. They automatically thought, well, what is in it for you? What are you trying to? They were, because they've been lied to. They've been
it's the ongoing trauma. It's the ongoing trauma and the continuation of,
and they've been exploited too, Kit. And they were very, so I made a lot of connections. I made a lot of leeway. I made a lot of, I covered a lot of ground. I've set myself up, and I still got to deliver now, right? I still got to deliver. In fact, I'd love to, if with your permission, I'd love to share one give, send, and go. I'm going to start right now. I'd love to put it into your YouTube chat.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll pin it.
Yeah,
I'll
pin it. I'll do one because I got to show these people, because they were like, well, why should we talk to you? What do we get at it? Because I'm going to pump your give, send, go. I'm going to pump your message. I got 4 groups that I'm going to pump over the next several weeks, right? You know what I'm saying? And saying, let's give money directly. 2 of them are the mutual aid camps that are set up right around the corner from Lahaina. 2 of them, I think, are the most important thing. The federal government or the state has set something up, and theirs, it seems like a lot more janky. I couldn't get into there. They wouldn't let me get in there to see it. You know what I'm saying? But I've had 2 mutual aid camps, and they were very hesitant. And I said, listen, please, you just have to trust me right now. I'm going to help you here. I'm not here to exploit you. I'm here to help you.
Please
Because
give me those links.
yeah.
I would like to help out too, and I would like to let them know that to any of the groups, let's say we have any people who are from Hawaii watching, look, we can't let this story of Maui die, because again, my fear is those vulture capitalists are going to fly in. Those celebrities are going to be flying in. These politicians are going to be making money. We've been playing videos of what's happening. We cannot forget this is the most devastating fire, not only in Hawaii's history, but in U.S. history. Okay, there are people gone. There were children burnt alive, old people burnt alive, memories gone. And this is, again, a tragic tale in this state. And if you look at what's happened to the native people of Hawaii, again, it is far more brutal than one would ever prepare themselves for. And we, if we're all want to really step up, we have to remember what happened to the people of Lahaina has already happened to us, and it will continue to happen. Look at East Palestine. All right, 4,000 people exposed to dangerous chemicals. Flint, Michigan, they still got lead in their drinking water. Chicago, a major metropolitan city, right? We got industrial polluters and lead pipe going into Lake Michigan. Okay, there's so many stories familiar about it. We're all being screwed over. Now we got to stand together, because if we don't, we are going to get walked all over and nothing will fundamentally change. It'll get progressively worse. So I would like those groups so that we could share them in the live stream chat. I am going to clip this interview and post it, and also put it on our show on Can TV as well, because again, we have to talk about this tragic event and we cannot forget it. So
I don't know why it's not showing up. It's weird. I'm doing it in my phone and it's not showing up
Did it show up? But why don't you post it in the stream yard chat, and then that way I have the power, because I am the king after all. I could post it in the live stream chat, and that way all the good people can help out and contribute.
I sent it to your phone too as well.
Hold on, let me go ahead and get it to my phone then.
Because I don't know why it's not showing up in the chats, but
okay, let me go ahead and fix that. All right, let me go ahead and fix that. All right, I think I got it. All right, there we go. I copied it, and out of process of elimination. Watch this. All right, hang on. So, Pasta, why don't you filibuster while I'm playing around with my phone just a little bit? So, talk a little bit more about again, because probably on your last day you're reaching out to all these people, especially in Maui. Could you elaborate just a little bit more of just what else people were saying? Because obviously, too, I do want to bring up the fact that, again, something that is being dismissed and people are still raising alarms about the children, and we got to be careful how we word it because of YouTube guidelines, but. Again, children missing. There's 1,000+ missing, and a lot of them are kids.
Yeah, well, they're starting to change the language on that, right? The language was missing, and a lot of people would say, "Oh my God, what's that mean? Like, are they in the woods hiding from what's going on?" And they're starting to say unaccounted for, right? And that's what it is. They haven't identified these people yet because they probably burnt down to a crisp. That's why they're asking some of the family members to come in, help with the DNA, try to identify the people, whatnot. But they are definitely underplaying what's going on. Because if you see 150 people dead, right, in America, that might just be a normal Thursday or Friday where there's something like that happens, or it's a tragedy, and it's easy to move on. But if you kind of talk about, if the local news and the mainstream media was honest about stuff and saying there could be thousands dead, you know what I'm saying? We don't know yet. It's unaccounted for. Then the tragedy is much bigger, and there's more eyes and more news about it. So that's something that they've been doing. They've been downplaying this so they can move on. They want to move on, and they want to let the process play out within the courts where they have the advantage, where they understand and they know these people are not. How is somebody going to be able to pay rent in 2 different places? A lot of the landlords were asking for rent money. Right? They're still asking for rent money and stuff for the
how
down.
How are people going to pay for that? Again, they lose everything, and not to mention the $700. How we know they're going to get that in their hand when, again, everything is gone, and yet the FEMA people are in a 5-star resorts, which again, optics looks terrible. I think all of the displaced people should be in the 5-star resorts right now. Maybe I'm being too mean to FEMA, but look, the people deserve
A
the
lot of
people
the
who lost
people are
everything.
shacked up and just overloaded in some of their friends' places and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? There's families and houses that's overloaded in spots. It's there, like I said, the locals are coming together to support each other, and that's amazing. But you're right. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these other rooms, and I'm sure listen, I did hear some positive stories about the Red Cross. I heard they were held up at the Hyatt. And I heard there was some assistance that were going directly to the people. They said out of all the groups that have been, helpful, the Red Cross has been the best, better than FEMA, better than the local and state officials. So there are some positive, stories out there from the Red Cross. There are people in Lahaina I met that said, don't blame the police for what's going on. They were only taking orders. There were power lines down, and they were thought of the process. They didn't want people driving into the power lines, even though the electricity was out. And that's what a lot of locals were saying. Like, what are you doing? You're diverting people back into the fire when you need to be diverting them away from them. And those power lines are not juiced right now. Let them get out of there. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you get different stories. You get different stories from everybody out there, from how it started. You got people who talk about space lasers, people who talk about direct energy weapons, people who talk about weather modification. You got people, there's somebody who told me, he's like, yeah, why would they use a space laser when somebody can just go up there, drop a flare, and with those winds, the fire is going to be crazy. And now, and that same person, though, was very, very curious about how those hurricane winds just all of a sudden automatically came. You know what I'm saying? But it does look like at the end of the day, they let this place go because they were willing to exploit a situation when it did happen. Like, it was bound to happen because the way they diverted water away from this area and the indigenous people there, they let the conditions be created for something like this to happen. Did you get the link into the chat?
I did. I actually posted it, and it's pinned right there, up there.
Yeah.
So please help out if you can, folks. It's a GoFundMe link. Look, again, I'm going to say it, Pohuku S Turns Community Relief Fund.
Yeah.
They've
Tell
already
them
raised.
Pasta sent you.
Yeah,
Let them know.
Again, help out if you can, folks. All right.
Yeah.
It's important that we at least fight for that better future and help out organizations that need help. So look, I know that you have to get ready for your show as well that you're going to be setting up. So look, Pasta, number one, outstanding work going on the ground. Do you have an idea of when you might return back to Maui? And then number two, I just want to let you know that Hardlands Media definitely stands in solidarity with you, and that if we can, we'd love to help you out in any which way we can, even if it's doing a live stream or posting your stuff on social media, because we've got to talk about this, and we can't let this story die. We can't let any of these stories die, especially when we get abandoned. But I want to give you the final word, brother.
I don't know when I'll be able to return. I obviously got a lot of stuff going on over here. And the megaphone that I've been given from James Dorr, I need to make sure that I harness that and take care of that. So that's why I'm going to look to see me more on Jimmy Dorr. I'll be there on Friday, and
very good.
Holding it down, so I have that going on. I've also started, a fundraiser on to cover RFK, and I plan to continue to go follow him too as well. So I don't have a date when I will return to Maui, but like I said, I will definitely return. I think it will be sooner than later. I'll find a spot. I'll make a plan, and I will do it. I think the most important thing right now to cover is these mutual aid guys, these people right now, what they're going through, right? Like I said, they're up right now and they're working, right? They're doing their thing, but how long are they going to be allowed to stay and operate? That's the question right now,
I hear you, brother.
I have to return to them and highlight what's going on for them. And also, I said there's a big story there. There's people who are dealing with trauma. There's people who haven't spoke yet. It's still early. There's people who thrusted themselves in this aid process, and they're helping others right now. And they're actually masking and burying the trauma of what went on with them. So I want to be able to return to tell their story, to show their trauma, not to exploit it, but to get more eyes and ears on this situation. Like I said, we have to highlight these stories and this information. This is what real journalism is about. This is what Julian Assange was trying to show, that the government is not trustworthy, and we have to shine a light on these stories in these areas, whatnot. You've mentioned this several times throughout this whole conversation, this is one of the worst wildfires ever, right?
In U.S.
So-
history, not only in Hawaii's history, but in
U.S.
our-
history.
yeah, U.S. history.
So if it's going to take the little guys to do the big work, then we got to do it. So I take on the responsibility. I like I said, this is not a fight that's over. It's only just begun. And with God's grace and glory, and the what do you call him? The King, the King's permission, and the people's help. Man, everybody watching the show right now, if you guys were a part of the whole help to get me there, God, I love you. Thank you so much, man. And the people of Lahaina, I know they might not understand or know what we're doing right now, but they're going to their stories are going to be able to be seen and heard and listened to because of you guys doing this. This is a team effort right here. I'm just merely the vessel of all the people that put me in play. And like I said, this it's great to come on Hard Lens. The first show I did was Rachel Blevin's show on Sputnik, and I was able to talk about it. This is the first visual show I've been able to come on and talk about it, and I'm glad it's Hard Lens because I remember you back in the days doing this stuff, just getting your butt on the ground, grab your microphone, grab your camera, grab your phone, do whatever you got to do, and just get out there and tell the stories that the mainstream media is not willing to tell. So It's been an honor, and it's awesome to come on this show, a Hard Lens, and talk about what I did and talk about the work. I mean, this is what we're 7 years later from when we started and shit and stuff. I mean,
I think so.
great.
I think so. 2017, we got started. I think I remember you guys getting started.
2017.
2017. Yeah, I don't know when exactly, but I know our official birthday is April Fool's Day, April 1st of all the days. So there you go. That's our official birthday. So
yes,
always
and
looking forward to April 1st.
Before I get out of here, I'll just end on one note. We all know that New York pizza is definitely better than Chicago pizza. I don't care what that guy who came on this camera and said some stuff said. We know, in your heart of heart, kits. New York pizza is where it's at. Let's not fool anybody over here. Let's tell the truth. We're obligated to tell the truth, and we're going to do so.
What you just stated was a war crime and a hate speech. So I refuse to acknowledge that because, after all, Chicago style gives you choices. We have 4 different styles, not just deep dish, but nonetheless, pasta. I know you got a main show that you got to get started for. So, and then also, folks, we're going to have ourselves, we continue on doing our show as well. So for everyone, Pasta, thank you so much for joining us, man. Keep on speaking truth to power, my brother.
Love you, Kit. Thank you for having me on.
I guess this isn't such an awful place. Is that what you want me to say? You prove it's possible to sleep for days and to still think you're right here awake. The cost of living isn't much to make, but God, it's so hard to save. And when they told you everything was safe, were you safe? Were you safe? Were you safe? Were you safe? I guess this isn't such an awful place. Is that what you want me to say? You prove it's possible to sleep for days and to still think you're right here awake. The cost of living isn't much to make, but God, it's so hard to say. And when they told you everything was safe, were you safe? Were you safe? Were you safe? Were you safe?
Fresh off the mass is the brand new cancerous growth who has come here to vie for your vote. Come here to cry at the camps and to mourn at the shore for the bodies that float by the wreck of an immigrant boat. Then it's back to their luxury home, couple security booths and a moat. Couple cigars, little escargot, little booze and a soak. Just breathe in the steam and the smoke. Pink salt, lavender, candles are low. Shit, when you do what you do, gotta lighten the load. And he got a life of his own that's a sight to behold. And it's a lot to control, to decipher the code, or to siphon the soul. The cost of a good night's sleep for the working elite is a bargain, no matter the toll. Worth any wager, and that comes straight from the mouth of the means to the goal that will swallow us whole. Right for the picking if you don't mind mold, and you know I don't. Maybe we're pleasantly prone, maybe we're taking a licking, compliantly ticking and ticking and ticking, but never explode. No, I don't deliver the prettiest image, but damn if it isn't an accurate vision of natural fission, of rage at the system and abject heartbreak, patiently waiting for any who will listen. That little blue bird who was watching your words is a federal carrier pigeon, a Langley first. It's a patient observer who hears what it wants and is trained for the worst. Oh, you got nothing to hide. They'll be the ones to decide that after they root through your purse, after they read all your text, after they raid your apartment, confiscate all of its contents, then conjure up evidence out of the air on a wing and a prayer and malicious intelligence nonsense. Any presumption of innocence long since gone, right along with your comforts and constants. Historically first they will come for the communists. So why in the fuck would I say I'm a communist? Well, it might be I love my community more than the monsters of opulence who are holding us hostage, who are vomiting promises. Might be I'm all done seeing our pensions and benefits harvested. Might be I'm all done watching the populace being disarmed in the guise of an armistice. Watching a woman collapse on the floor who will rise no more. She is wheeled out the door and you're next in line for the pharmacist. If you can get me to vote, it's a hard no confidence. But part of the charm of deception is politics wearing the mask of incompetence. It's all in the art of austerity, darling. It's all in the slide of the providence. Until home is as wide as your cubicle height and is only as deep as your coffin is. Maybe I'm miles away from impatience, aching to break off the head of the snake where the capital lust, reptile brain, and the margin of profit is. Like off with his. Like off with his.
I guess this isn't such an awful place. Is that what you want me to say? You prove it's possible to sleep for days and to still think you're right here awake. The cost of living isn't much to make, but God, it's so hard to say. And when they told you everything was safe, were you safe?